G'day. I've made the call to go to the dentist. And this all looks like this because I think I've lost 10 kilos from the exercise I've been getting. And because I've been getting a bit of exercise. What to say, man? What to say about what's happening is, I'm just going to say it, right? I think BLM and the media could be Trump's idea. They should just forget this facade that, you know what? It's a facade they've got. They should just front up, man. I mean, fuck. Because they've got the fingers in all these pies, right? But if it was celebrated as a monarchy, as it were, things could operate way differently, right? But because they're trying to hide it, right? There's all this information. And then my contribution happened. Just my contribution. What effect does it have in the perception of, it totally adds substance to what's going on, and literally a lot of very nuanced data. Because before it was just like all that generic conspiracy stuff, right? They should just relax, man. It's an amnesty. Fuck, man. Hey, just at the ultimate result, I think would be entirely plausible. There's everything, you can just about say there's going to be 3 times more creativity. 3 times more. Right. But it'll be in a political environment where it's acknowledged that there needs to be a paradigm shift. Right? It's acknowledged. Because we're beyond where we were. Like the whole world, the whole lot of it, man. All these legacy pillars of society. We're in a real different space. And now is just now, right? You know what? The space thing is just gonna fucking go for it, man. Because we've been made aware of it. There's been a thoroughly amazing, like, exponential increase in, you know what, I'd like to know who built the first 3D metal printer. I'd like to know who that is. Okay? Because that's what's happened. That thing happened, and then that thing happened. and then Elon, and then stainless steel. I've got a plan. I've got a plan. Design a single stage orbiter vehicle. You know what? If I had the money, I would fucking do it. And there will be a great deal of interest in this thing I want to build. Because it's not fucking some fucking rocket thing like what they're using. See, all the space stuff going on is largely about satellites, and that is they're not very good for human transport. Nah, I don't fucking fuck that, man. In keeping with dignity, the dignity of the creative spirit. That's my constant companion for design work. And I think if I had the resources, the financial resources, because I'm pretty aware of all the stuff that's needed, and you know what? Even if there's a few things in it I'm not aware of, like I haven't had direct contact with that kind of technology, right? And it's basically the rocket engine. But I think there's something, man. I think something about that shit, man. So I've got an idea, because it's not the job has got. They have rockets, they blast off. This isn't a rocket, what I'm thinking of making. I think it needs. I've thought of really, if it's cranking, like 5,000 kilometres an hour type thing. Now Russia's got a plane or two that can do that. In the mid, I think definitely the low 4,000 kilometre an hour area. And so it's not a bit of a push beyond that. And that's, yeah, so I really heavily believe in the future. Really, really. And I've said something, I don't care about, that because the whole culture of this problem is of anxiety suffering, right? Anxiety, right? The whole its whole existence effectively, but how it gets political with you. It's like it's super defensive, right? And it's inflicting on you the the exterior of it. The anxiety is on the interior of it, and the extent of the projection of it is where you are. And so I thought I'd return the favour to anxiety. Project consciousness directly into the direct connection, man. Yeah, I put this comment on the thing. A young guy, there's a cool group called the New Zealand Brotherhood, the Kiwi Brotherhood, Kiwi Bros, something like that. And someone was having a great deal of trouble with, anxieties tripping him up when he had to communicate. And his whole life was, of course, kind of splatterised from it. And so that's the first thing. Because I've gone kind of public with it like that. I mean, that's a great forum, because the thing of it is, I'm a white guy, right? And I've seen this through white guy eyes, right? And that's the wording of it. It's from me. And so to have a group specifically kind of about Kiwi guys that are just, this is quite marvellous, and it's actually very, very, it's very, very, it's a worthy rebuttal, actually, to this political system that is really, it likes pounding away on the public about stuff, man, like caboose all the time, eh? Yeah, the TNIL party. The TNIL party, man. There's some things wrong and I'm going to fix it. The TNIL party will fix it, right? And there's just some things, right? The math is what the math is of that revelation of the 8 laws. The math is what it is, and then this is the math of that. Right? And this is the stuff that needs to be part. There's stuff that just has to happen, man. I think Maori, there's got to be some way for personal growth beyond where we are with each other, right? When I say that, I personally am close, I know Maori, right? And this is highlighting the difference between this issue of the revelation of the 8 laws, okay, and how Maori are. So that's something. And it's actually down to language. And it's not just the fact that we both talk, it's the fact that we phrase things differently, and there's emphasis placed on, the emphasis is as a different character for the reason of emphasis, right? So, so there's something about it, and see, I could be harping on about all the problems, you know, it's stupid, right? Waste your energy celebrating problems. I mean, it's fucking dumb as fuck. This is the stupidest thing. Now, I'll get on my religious high horse and say that is fucking being a stupid moron. Constantly focusing on problems. Because the creative spirit has rules. And those rules mean focus. Focus. Because it's a joy. There, how we live is, you know, the thing is, people that are easily made content it's not that they are easily made content, it's that they value wisdom and they chill out. Anything happens, you know, there's things said and stuff happens and blah blah, and they won't get all uppity about it. They won't get all uppity about it, man. They'll calmly think about it. And so by the time they do that, all these blabbermouths have been shooting their mouths off in the media and all the stuff, you know. And, you know, I was a primary school kid once, and the teacher said, that's little 5-year-old stuff, the teacher said, only the empty vessel makes the most noise. So look at the media. Because how do we see things? We have our lives. And so they communicate very, very differently. So there'll be many things a TNIL government would do. I think there's got to be a massive push, right? Massive push for people that aren't capable that when their kids leave high school, they should be put in good order. They should be put in good order. You know, I feel it's fucking... Now, New Zealand's very lucky because it's quite small, and it's quite small, and so it's gonna have this, anyway, I think that about that. Two sides of the stupid shit is the revelation of the 8 laws being the truth, and money, the culture around money. Because I said in this post, that this, I started talking about what I call the third party society, right? And I dropped it in there, and this dude, because it's only new, so you won't get your head around it straight away, and but I've actually noticed it for a long time. For farming, that they had the farming thing, right, and then interest rates went down and then like 18 months later it went way up, and it shocked everyone. And so that was mass calamity around the farming peoples, man, and its consequences very much exists today. And then there was a wee while later, the government thought they'd save money by closing down schools, small schools, and a whole lot of country schools got shut. And then corporates took over the dairying. So that's an example of the third party thing. So that's all been organised from a third party position, and then there's the government and us. Because believe it or not, everyone living in town thinks, everyone thinks their lives are just the centre of the universe type thing, and everyone does that. But the thing of note is that the farmers make food and stuff, and our to the most of the country, the farm is our thing, right? So you mess with that, you're messing with a lot of the country. Everything outside a big town or a city is different. The town folk won't register to what's going on out there. They won't appreciate it, man. And so it just really makes obvious this issue of communication, where these different groups of people, they all communicate differently. And so my group communicates how it communicates. Then all these other groups, they're different. So you've got different, lawyers. They've got their own language even, right? That's how different they communicate from normal people. And the whole system, the bureaucracy, and so there's almost a case there needs to be a translation service for it, actually, right? Instead of going to the lawyers, because it sticks out that they've got this really difficult way of communicating, and then they charge you heaps of money for reading it to you and that. And this is like, holy fucking, this is the most blatantly, it's voraciously commercial, a voracious attitude, really seriously. And so so that group, and then there's like Maori. There's a whole different world going on out there. If you're not Maori, you don't think about it too much. Maori are a whole different world to Pākehā up there. Because these other things are reality, right? They were here when it was just Maoris here, and the country was like that. And so I had my thing about the farm thing. And so that's exactly like Maori freaking out about they've lost their lifestyle. The spirit thing has changed, or something. And because of this language thing, how people who communicate, groups of people have different common use of language. See, so not many people in one group will talk to someone in another group. And mostly I think there's an aspect where people are unfamiliar with how other groups communicate, right? And if you're in one group for a long time and for some reason you have to go into another group, like if you've got to deal with with lawyers in the courts or whatever, you start having this wild argument, and it's because the police and the people, the common use of language is entirely different for both groups, right? And this makes them foreigners to each other, right? See, the thing is, it's known, it has to be known, man, the reasons why people get pissed off. Why are they angry? What's it like? What is a person like when that is an ongoing, long-term situation, right? Where does frustration, how is that going on? Because there's a lot of things that a small presence actually has a big influence over the long term, right? And this is just laws of physics, right? And so you've got lawyers, you've got cops, you've got gang members, you've got motorcyclists, you've got car heads, you've got mums, you've got dads, you've got kids, you've got, tradie, you've got small business owner, you've got fucking taxi drivers. So there's that. And so this thing here really, they all communicate different and they don't really mix much, and it's like that, right? For different groups, right, in society. So there's quite a few different groups of society. There's sports people, musicians, and they all have a different kind of character of each other. And so it struck me that car heads, say all these car guys, all these mates, friends, they'll meet up somewhere on a Friday night in a car park somewhere. They'll sit around chatting, man, listen to sounds with their cars all there, and they want to fix their car up, they want more horsepower, and it's all like talking. There's a lot of optimistic expression going on. The girls look nice, is that exactly the fucking same as the people on Wall Street? Is that what the people on Wall Street are doing too? Isn't it exactly the same? Because they all know each other and they're doing their thing, and it's like they've got their latest sports car thing going on, and they're all excited about it, and they're comparing it with their friends and stuff, and it's like, and then they have drinks together and they fucking, So the car head thing and the Wall Street thing seem to be the same thing. It's the same expression, but it's a different format, right? But the dynamics are all the same. And it's this, I think, the expression of consciousness. This is the intent of consciousness, So yeah, in that, see, because dentist costs, man, are horrendous, and they think it's a sport, and this is this bench racing thing, right? It's called bench racing with two people talking about cars, and there's a big ego thing in the dentist trade, man, about the cost of it. They smell a bit like these Wall Street guys, man, right? I mean, in New Zealand it's really expensive. And so anyway, So yeah, when it comes time to communicate, parents and kids are two different groups. They communicate, they use language, the common use of language. And then you add a bit of anxiety into it. You've really good validation for your anxiety, you want to talk about it, you want to get the word out about it, you know. And so yeah, there's something I've noticed anyway. So back to Trump anyway. You know, it's awful nice that the focus has got on the people. This is really cool. Because the media were implying the political was the only reality, right? And the constant bombardment of it from media, this has been really unnatural. It's been really unnatural. And so yeah. And there it sticks out a lot too. The strongest political media, right? It shows are very, very biased towards married. See, this group thing, married people are a group too. And people with mortgages are a group. And the mortgage thing, that it goes way out into the future of their lives, and that's all they're going to be doing, and it's just so important to pay it, and it's like all that real hardcore pressure affects how they talk. And so New Zealand's media largely is hugely biased to that group by virtue of the common use of language that group has, and the way the media present news and their content is very in keeping with that culture connected to that common use of language, right? It's so obvious because there's a lot of defence play. They won't go into this story or that story because it's really a big distraction from the mortgage, paying the mortgage, right? You know, they don't like distracting people from paying their mortgage, or the big philosophical, you know, having them. Yeah, anyway. So they're real biased towards this, and the radio media, especially the radio media. You know, I've listened to the 6:30 news in the morning for a long time on the radio, and you might as well be. This is like half of it. Usually is. You know, it's been a trend to. It's more of a public announcement thing of what is the good idea. And they'll have some story about something about that reflects that, right? And it sounds like some kind of, they're advising us about a public announcement, but it's a very, very, it's you know what? It's not it's not kosher, man. It's not kosher. It's like weird as fuck. that's the truth. And so you know, this is what has been going on. So hey, let's talk about the BLM, right? Let's talk about BLM. Protests burned, they're out of control, mate. But we've got a few movies called like The Purge. We've got even what's his face? You got The Purge, right? That movie. Okay, you get the political optic of it, right? And there's been a few other movies as well. And there's music and there's all the stuff. And then the media just put a little bit of the right ingredient in there, and away they go, right? That's, Jumanji, right? Been thrown into, it's a psyop thing. And so I'm guessing there would be in a year, I'm just making an arbitrary speculation, there might be 10,000 instances of votes of confidence in a certain thing. There's been shitloads in hip hop, man. I mean, holy shit, man. It's like, another one was that movie Gravity, right? And the story is that all this joyous, beautiful creativity was destroyed in the first few minutes. And there's been all sorts, like that Prometheus movie. There's no reason to expect that aliens would be violent, right? There's no reason. That's a projection. There's a Freudian slip from the human race that they actually think anxiety is wisdom. And that leads them to think, well, the scary alien will attack us. So, the TNIL party will be starting a movie making operation, because I think we could do a hell of a good job at sci-fi if we actually did that thing to it. I think we'd make some really ace movies, man. Oh, what do they think's a good movie? That Savage movie. Fucking whatever. Savage is about a gang, and this guy, he's it's got an ugly storyline, put it that way, right? And it's a strange thing, man. What else, man? There's a whole lot of new blood in the political system here. The political party, the New Conservatives, right? They're not bad. I mean, there's been some obvious things. It's obvious though how the Kiwi bill was designed to have that result, right? Any time there's some government thing that ends up like that, there's been either a massive fraud because they had the plan of ripping it off financially, right? Or they're actually just that retarded, which is they've got no skill at that kind of thing at all, and that's a fraud then that they were allowed anywhere near that. So who might like it to be that way? And the general attitude, TNIL thing is, see, the Labor government, they